Today I'm going to talk about the masks that are seen in Halloween 3. There's quite a few others that are in the film in different scenes besides the skull, the pumpkin, and the green witch. So we'll go over those masks if I have them here in the room, and I'll go into details about these original Don Post Halloween 3 masks. The H3 witch, which is really called the Green Witch on the right, started off as an 82 Hagatha, which is seen on the left. In 82, Don Post came out with their 950 line of masks, and it consisted of 6 masks, and the green Hagatha on the left, the olive drab colored black hooded witch, was part of that new 950 line. Both of these witches are actually seen in the film. A lot of people do not know that, but the old 82 Hagatha is seen in the trailer, the original trailer, where I guess it could be the teaser trailer, where the tarantula crawls out of its mouth. And when they were filming the Silver Shamrock commercial, where the little kids' heads were bobbing back and forth, that's a Hagatha scene in that footage. It was shot very early on, and the new H3 style Green Witch just wasn't ready yet, so that is seen in those two parts of the film. And both of these masks are pretty rare. The 83 Halloween 3 Green Witch, there's about 15 copies out there that I've seen, either in collections or surfacing on eBay. I've kept a count of every one I've noticed, at least in the past 10 years, and there's only 15 of them. Now the 82 Hagatha, there is about 5 or 6 of them, so it's actually rarer than the H3 Witch. And that 82 mask is by far one of my favorite masks of all time. I've always loved that black hood combination with that green, that dull green finish. I think it's just a beautiful piece. The Green Witch has a bluish green or blue-gray kind of colored hood. It's a very odd color that you just don't see the material pop up anywhere. People try and duplicate it, and it always looks different in photos. It either looks super blue or it looks green, but it's this very weird, it's close in this video, but it's a very weird color. And that's definitely called the Green Witch. Everyone likes to call her Hagatha, but her name in the Don Post catalog in 83 is just Green Witch. Not H3 Witch, not Hagatha, but the Green Witch. The Don Post Pumpkinhead Mask was the only mask that was sculpted for the movie. The witches and the skulls were production masks prior to the film, but the pumpkin was made for the movie, and he is called Pumpkinhead in the catalog. The Pumpkinhead and the Green Witch have very dull finishes to them. They weren't painted with conventional latex paints or acrylics. These have a very dry feel to them, and they were painted with powdered pigments, actual powder, day glow powder. So when you look at these genuine masks from 82, 83, they have a very, very dull appearance to them. There's nothing shiny about them at all. And they are super bright orange. It's going to be hard to get actual color in this video on these, but they are day glow orange. And they have little screens in the eyes. The eyes and the mouth have like a mesh fabric inside. And the green stems are the same green that's found on the Green Witch. All of the masks that were seen in the movie, like on the shelves and in the factory scene, were packaged up and shipped out as orders after the film was completed. So it's a very good chance that a lot of masks were screen used. You'll find H3 masks tagged, if they are tagged, which is very rare. You'll see some with the blue and white tag and some with the black and white care tags from Don Post. Don Post stopped using the black and white tags in 1982 and then came out with this new style care sheet in 83. So that's why you'll see two different tags on these masks. And I'm guessing that if a mask has the black and white tag, it's more likely to be a screen used piece than something that's got the later 83 tag on it. I've archived about 10 or 11 pumpkins that are out there in circulation. So there are fewer pumpkins than green witches that I've seen. So a little rarer than the witch. The shamrock tags, in case you're wondering, they say Don Post Studios Halloween 3 Silver Shamrock, cut along perforation, apply vinyl glue, and adhere near mask neck. So what you do is pop off the disc like that one, and people would glue it to the back of the mask. That one's been on there since 83. Pretty cool. People ask me why these are so rare. Number one, the movie was a flop back then, and these masks were, you know, about $40 to $50 in 83, so I don't think they sold many of these at all. I'm not sure on how many were made. I've heard certain numbers, but I just don't think many were sold. And they are very thin. These pumpkins and the green witches are latex. The skulls are vinyl, but these are a thin latex mask, so they definitely don't hold up well over time unless they're properly cared for. In the movie, they use the Don Post skull, which is a jumbo-sized white skull. There were several skulls produced by Don Post, and which I'll actually talk about in a future video. But the big jumbo-sized, everyone calls it the 67 Don Post skull. This is the one that was used. It was sculpted in 67 by Pat Newman, but these white skulls were actually produced in the early 80s. So there are a lot of these made. They've been producing these for years, and compared to the pumpkin and witch, these are very easy to find and a lot cheaper. I'll get into values and selling prices later too, but this is one thing I want to talk about. Is if you bought these masks back then, you would not receive this mask. It was used in the film, but this is not the mask Don Post would send you if you ordered these masks or actually walked into a costume shop to buy them with the others. I'll show you what you would get. If you ordered the masks or bought them, like I was saying, you do not receive the white skull, but you would get a glow skull. This is the 83 glow skull that was made for the Big 3 set. So this one's in the movie. These are what you'd actually get when you bought these. There was 2 sculpts. As far as I know, there was only a couple sculpts used. One has the later weird 76 tooth, and the other has normal teeth. The strange tooth one is the one that you'll see looking up at you in the tuxedo ad. The H3 ad with the guys wearing the tuxedos, and they have the Halloween 3 masks on from the 83 catalog. This is that mask. These glow skulls were also tagged with the silver shamrock tag. For a long time we weren't sure if they were or not, because none of them ever surfaced. We've never seen, when I say we, I'm talking about people in the hobby that collect these masks. We've never seen any that actually had an H3 tag on it. So we always assume that the skulls didn't have the shamrock tag. Before the H3 glow skulls came out, the glow skulls looked like this. That's the 78 glow skull. And they all have this dirty, dingy appearance. The later 83 skulls, the glow skull, has a much whiter looking paint scheme. It's that yellowed looking glow paint, but my thoughts are that they made it look whiter just so it resembled the movie mask more. I think if someone got this in the mail, they would probably complain that it really didn't look like the movie skull that was super white. So they have a lot heavier looking white paint on them, or glow paint I should say. So here is the big three as you would see in the film, with the large jumbo white skull. And here's the set with the glow skull in place if you bought them back in '83. Don Post came out with a lot of new masks in '82, and some of them are seen in the film in different scenes. These two here, the tank on the left and the Neanderthal, came out, and they're seen in the front, I guess, lobby of the factory, the Silver Shamrock factory. So the tank is the football player mask, and if you ordered these, if you were a distributor or a costume shop and you ordered 36 pieces or more of the tank mask, they would paint it in whatever two colors you wanted, and usually people would order them the colors of their local football teams. So the one in the film is like this one with the yellow and the green stripe, and this is the only copy I've ever seen that resembles the one in the movie. Usually they're all red with white stripes. That's a very common one, but this is the only yellow one I've seen that looks like the one used in the film. This is the Don Post Neanderthal that came out in '82, and that is also seen in that front reception area of the Silver Shamrock factory. This is a great mask. Also new in '82 was the Yeti. Well, it's a newer version of an old mask from the '70s, and Reptilia, which is seen on the right. Both of these are from that same front reception area scene of the Silver Shamrock factory, and you'll see them in the background behind the secretaries back on the back shelf. This is a really wild looking mask. Lots of hair. I love it. The Reptilian Mask is pretty cheaply made. It's very thin and doesn't have a really great shape to it. I'm assuming it was made to form right around your face and head really tight, so you kind of look like a snake person. But these were new in '82 and definitely seen in the movie. Also in that same scene is the Big Top Clown Mask, and it was new for '82 also. These are pretty rare. I've only seen a handful of these surface. It's a really creepy looking clown, just strange looking look on his face, but it's a cool piece. And that's definitely in sitting back on the shelf behind the secretaries in the factory. Later in the film, there's a scene with what is called the Hall of Fame, when they have all the masks lined up in that strange room with the toys, the Silver Shamrock Factory toys that Cochran made. And you'll see in the background a lineup of masks. And you could see Chalice sneaking by him at night, and then also a scene where Marge Gutman is standing there kind of looking at each mask. But here are two of those masks, and one is the 1977 Gray Timberwolf. That's the first mask seen on the far left of that row of masks. And then there is a copy of the Don Post Cousin Erie. However, it appears to have no hair in that scene. So they could have just taken a blank copy and painted it, and I'm not sure why, but he has no hair. But these are the two that are seen at the far left side of that lineup. The Erie here is a modern pull. It's not an original Erie. This is the original is super rare. But this is the next best thing from the original mold. The next two in that lineup is the Schizoid, Don Post Schizoid Mask. This is one of my favorite Don Post pieces, and it's a very weird looking mask with a guy with a little weird face growing out of the side of his head. This is a very pristine copy. Next is the Don Post Dark Angel, and that mask was new for '82 also, and the Schizoid was new in '83. But both of those are what you see come up next in the order of the Hall of Fame. The last three that you'll see in the lineup against that wall in the Hall of Fame is this Phantom, Don Post Phantom, that was new in '82, and it's a one-year only Phantom. It's very rare. This is like the second or third copy I've ever seen, but extremely rare mask. And the next one to that is the Don Post DK Skull, which is a very sought after mask, and again, very rare. DK as in the letter D and the letter K. The DK Skull came out in 1981, and then after that, the final mask in the Hall of Fame lineup is the Don Post Sargoth, which is a big cobra head mask. Definitely one of the coolest masks Don Post Studios has ever produced. This is also a very sought after piece and really tough to get. One of these just sold for about $1,200 on eBay recently, but pretty unique. You don't see many masks looking like that. Later in that same room where the Hall of Fame is, they pan across the room and you'll catch little glimpses of these two masks. They're kind of up high on another shelf, and the gold Medusa is kind of hard to make out in the film, but this is what that mask was. It was new in '82, and no copies exist today of that mask because the green paint or the gold paint they used melted the latex copies. So any originals that had that gold paint on the latex pretty much melted and got destroyed. It's the same gold paint that was used on the C-3PO mask, but the C-3PO was vinyl and it didn't have that reaction. So C-3POs are still around because of the vinyl, but these do not exist. This is a custom-made copy painted by Kathy Tharp, and I took the white and purple and green version and had her paint it gold like the one in the film. Looks pretty amazing. Next to her is Tor Johnson, very famous, probably the best-selling Don Post mask of all. Came out in 1977, and that's the other mask seen in that Hall of Fame room. A lot of hardcore Myers fans hate Halloween 3 because it has nothing to do with Michael Myers and he's not in it and it's stupid and blah 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 blah. The last thing we need is another frickin' Myers movie. Give me a break. On top of that, he is in the movie. He's on the TV in the bar. when Chalice is drinking, they show a movie trailer for Halloween. So technically, this mask makes an appearance in Halloween 3. Okay, that just about wraps it up for the masks of Halloween 3. There is another mask that's actually seen in the front of the factory. It's hard to make out what mask it is. I know what it is, but I'm not going to mention it until a future video, and I'll explain why later. I'll also get into the values of some of these. Original sets with the pumpkin and the witch and skull have sold from 4,000 or 5,000 to over 10,000, believe it or not, in private sales. I think one or two sets have sold over 10,000. So recent eBay auctions, the pumpkin has brought somewhere around 3,600 on up, and the witches usually 2,000 to 3,000, depending on the condition and if they're tagged. But they can go way up from there, depending on how many people are bidding and who wants it. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. Thank you.